Hi and welcome to a new video. My name is EcombyNik and let's talk some ecom. What I'm doing and what I'm preaching is micro branding. I find a niche, a market, I test products, I micro brand it and I turn it into a brand. I buy inventory and then we go from dropshipping to a real brand, and that's the short explanation. In this video, I thought we would go over some markets and what do you need to start selling in that market, and which markets are good and which markets are bad. Of course, no market is really bad. It's more like some markets maybe don't fit your criteria. So let's just jump into that and talk a little bit more about ecom and markets. So what I have explained, I'm focusing on building brands with dropshipping. I'm using dropshipping to building brands, and how I do this is the easy way is that I choose a market and I choose a niche and I start testing products. When I have found my winner, I change the store a little bit more to a one product store or with some complementary products, and I build out a real brand. This is so I, in the test phase, can test a lot of products to the same market, to the same ICP, and with the same micro branding, so it feels like we are not doing dropshipping. It feels like it's a brand. And when we get the proof of concept, then we brand it. So, like I said, in this video we will go over some markets and I will talk a little bit about my experience with these markets. And if you don't really know who I am, like I said, my name is EcombyNik, and by doing micro branding, niche store and markets, and working to building brands with dropshipping, just this year I have done brands like this and like this. And if you want to learn more about how I do this and doing it by yourself and get a guidance to do this, you can go into EcombyNik.com. I have released the total ecom blueprint. It's a course where you can just follow step by step how you do this. We go over how to start, of course, how to find your winners, how to test and how to scale. And if you have a brand or if you are scaling right now, the course is also really great. I have chapters for how to scale further and how to keep your brand, and a lot of information of what you should do when you also have a brand, when you go from the testing to having a brand, so you are prepared for the future and that you don't lose momentum and can keep scaling easily. So back to the video and markets. It's two markets often that people speak about when you're doing ecom. Is the big five, of course, and that's UK, US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And why are we speaking about the big five? Of course, it's because they are speaking English. You can do an English website, and that's very, very convenient for a lot of people in the world doing dropshipping, of course. They are also quite easy markets with the payment providers, because it's working really good with credit cards and cards in these markets. And that is one big factor when you're choosing market, and you will see that later in this video. But of course, the big downfall with the big five, and actually why I never do the big five, is because it's a lot of competition. So when you're a beginner, if you want to do one country in the big five, I would recommend you to don't do the big five. I would recommend you to go only on Australia or only on New Zealand or only on Canada. I would stay away from US when I'm a beginner, because the competition there is really big. And I will almost also stay away from UK, because the competition there is very big too. Now I do UK a lot. I do Scandinavia and I do UK. Why I do Scandinavia, of course, is because I am from Sweden, so I speak the language. So that's a good thing for me. And I do UK because I want a broader and bigger market. But I don't do them on the same store. That's also a thing. Now I get a little bit off topic, but I'm speaking from experience, and I know that a lot of people have asked me this. You can do markets in your store in Shopify, of course. You can have on the basic plan, I think you can have 3 markets. On the growth plan, you can have 5 markets and so on. But actually what I do is that I do one store for every market. So I have one big brand I'm doing right now is a fashion brand. We started in Sweden with one store, and then we opened a store for Denmark, and then one for Norway, and now one for UK. So I have 4 stores for that. Why? Because you are also spreading the risk with banning of Shopify payment, PayPal, everything. So I have different accounts for every store. If something happens to this store, we have 3 more stores just to push forward and keep scaling. So that's one reason why I do that. The other reason is that it's easier because you choose your currency when you start your Shopify store. Then of course you can have like local currency for every countries that come in. So if I have a UK store, I choose pound, of course. And if I am in Sweden and visiting that store, I can choose that it shows local currency. So it shows Swedish kroner for me. At the back end, it's pound for that store. So if you want to do like post upsells after the checkout or things like that, they can only be shown in the currency that the store is. The other reason why I do different stores, the third reason is that I want to build a community. When I set up the email flow and everything like that, it's easier to separate the stores. You can do it in the local language and everything. So that's the third reason. But it's totally okay to do markets in one Shopify store. I have a lot of friends who has done that, and it goes really well. And you can of course do if you use like Omnisend, like I use for emails, you can separate the languages and things like that. I just think it's easier not to do like that. So back to the countries. Then you have the EU market. So that's the 2 big markets we are speaking about, the Big 5 or the EU market, often when we speak about dropshipping. The EU market is a lot of countries, of course. It's the biggest, I think, is Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, and they are really good countries. So what is some things you need to think about when you're choosing market? I will go over the markets I think are the best markets and what you should think about. Okay, so one of the best markets right now I think is Germany. Of course, you need to have a PayPal if you should sell to Germany. That's rule number 1. You need to have a PayPal, and you need of course to have a PayPal account that's warmed up, because otherwise you will get your holds on PayPal. That's strange because PayPal just do that. If you open a new PayPal account, they will only release $1,000 a month to you in the start. And that of course can be really bad for your cash flow. Then we have another really good market. It's Sweden, of course. I'm from Sweden. If you should do Sweden, you need to have Klarna. If you don't have Klarna, you won't get sales in Sweden. That's just how it is. Everyone in Sweden is buy now, pay later, 30 days. Everyone has Klarna here in Sweden, so you need to have Klarna. But that's included in the Shopify payment, so it's no problem. Then we have Denmark. Denmark is a small country, but really good. If you are running to Denmark, you need to have mobile pay. Then we have Norway. It's also a really good market. If you're going for Norway, you don't need it, but it's really good to have Whips. Actually, Whips is not included in the Shopify payment, so that you need to have separate. Then we have the Netherlands and Belgium. Netherlands and Belgium is really good countries. If you are selling to that countries, you need Ideal or something. I don't know really how to pronounce it, but Ideal. Actually, you always got that on Shopify payment before. Now they have changed it, so it's included in the Shopify payment, but you need to have 100 orders on your store with 0 chargebacks to activate it. So that's a little bit to think about if you are choosing Netherlands. You need to start in another country to get your orders up and everything to get the ideal, and then you can move into Netherlands. Something that worth mention is also in UK. Klarna is really good in UK also. It has become really popular the last. And then when you're choosing market, we will also speak a little bit, of course, about languages. The countries I went through now, Germany, or it works in Germany, you can run an English store with English ads, but of course it will be a lot better and it would boost your conversion if you translate the store to the local language. Example, if you're running to Sweden, it works fine with English ads and English website, because in Sweden everyone knows English really well, and we are not so afraid of English websites. But if you do it in Swedish and with Swedish ads, it will boost your sales a lot. But some countries that you really need to have the local language is France. If you don't do it in French, you don't need to do a store in France. Spain, you need to have it in Spanish, or you don't need to do the store. And also Poland is a country I found that you need to do it in Polish. And the other stores I went through before, or the other countries like Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Netherlands, it's of course the best thing is to do it in the local language, but you can run them with English speaking. And to wrap this up a little bit, some hidden gem countries that's working really good is actually Ireland and Switzerland is two countries that is really good. You don't need any special payment options. It's working fine with Shopify payment, and it's, of course, Ireland is an English-speaking country, so it works fine. And Switzerland works fine with English also. And these two countries is smaller countries, but especially Switzerland with a higher economy. So I have found a lot of success in Switzerland actually. So that was a video about markets. I hope when I edit this later, I hope I can get it to flow a little bit, work a little bit, because now I was just speaking out of my mind, out of my experience from this game. And so I hope I get the video to flow a little bit better, and that is some way understandable. But I can also say my favorite markets right now, like I said, it's UK, Sweden, Switzerland. It's my three favorite markets to run ads to and to have my stores in. If I do Sweden, of course I do everything in Swedish because I am Swedish. If I do UK, of course I do it in English, and both those countries I have Klarna with, and I get it with Shopify payments, so I don't need to have any extra. I put PayPal on them because I have a PayPal account that's warmed up. But a good thing with these countries is it's not so many people buying with PayPal in Sweden and UK, so you don't get so much orders, and then it's very easy to run PayPal. So that was all for this video. Thank you for talking a little bit about ecom with me today. If you want me to do a video on something special, please comment, please like, please subscribe, do everything. And it's really helping me and the channel out. And if you want to learn this by yourself, go to EcombyNik.com and look at the total ecom blueprint. It's a course, like I said, it's really good. And if you want to start your own store, I got the link to Shopify at the top of the description. You get 3 months for only $1 a month. I don't know how long Shopify will have this deal. So if you take it now, you will get a store for $3 over the whole Q4. So that's a great deal. And I see you in the next video.